required script.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, Mike, how long until the required sweater question?
15 minutes, usually, at least. Greg's on vacation? Is it he's on a staycation?
I don't know, but I'm very jealous of him.
What's a vacation? I've never heard of such a thing.
Well, I just went on vacation.
I want one of those.
I went on a little mini vacation.
You sure did.
And I'm feeling it. Mm-hmm. My voice is like...
She went to Vegas, right?
I went to Las Vegas.
For the Adult Entertainment Expo, right? Yes? I got that right?
Not quite. Close. It was called... Well, it's not called Nerdtacular, but it's called TMS Vegas. So yeah. I am on another podcast, if you didn't know, called The Morning Stream with Scott Johnson and Brian Ibbett. And I do a weekly segment. I've been doing that segment since 2011.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
A long time. And I was kind of having moments of like, I'm old.
Well, I saw the pictures. Everybody's old. So you're not alone.
And so we do this thing. It was born of a podcast that I did with a good friend of mine, Patrick and Terpster, called Movielicious. And those episodes are still out there. That was my very first podcast. Mm-hmm. And you can tell in the first episode that I'm very new to this. And so Recommendals was born of that. And I suggested it to Scott when he started the morning stream. He's like, yeah, come on, let's talk about streaming movies that are available. And I love to geek out and deep dive into movies. So that's why I'm part of the morning stream every Wednesday at, 11 o'clock, I guess, Central Time is when I go on. Mm-hmm. But just amazing, nerdy, wonderful people that I absolutely adore. And I met, it's been so long, I think 2018 was the last time, because I went on my own.
You went
I went on my own.
Early ones.
Yeah, I went to the first one. We used to do a thing called Nerdtacular, where it was like a big kind of convention event, and then that got downsized to, hey, let's just go to Vegas. Yeah. Just hang out.
It's a lot of pressure to put on a show. I mean, we see it in woodworking. Yeah. These shows come and go. They seem like they'd be profitable because of the amount of people.
Yeah.
But it's very expensive and stressful for these companies to run these things. For Scott to do it as an individual, can't even imagine the amount of work.
Why did I tell you that he announced that there's going to be they're going to start Nerdtacular back up in 2026 next year? Awesome. I can't wait.
Got to have a team.
It's going to be in Utah.
And it's fun though. To go to Utah,
but we're not going to go up into the mountains. We're gonna be down where there's stuff.
Cool.
So I'm so excited for that.
You got some pictures to show?
Oh yeah. So this is my girl group. This is when we first got to the plaza. That's Scott's sister behind me, Wendy. That's Misha, Scott's sister, and then this is Amy. I know her as Red Fraggle in the chat. It was so funny because I'm like, who are you in the chat? Like, I don't know your real name. People. I kind of keep it, mine's easy. It's Nicole Spag. Everybody thinks my last name is Spag. Mm-hmm. So that's when we first got there. So Brian Ibbett, who runs Coverville, did this whole thing called, have you ever heard the show Taskmasters?
No.
It's where you have to like do certain tasks, but he calls it Taskville. Wendy and I got teamed up and we had to make a Bloody Mary without making any noise of a certain decibel. And then if you went over that decibel, you had to dump your whole thing out and start again. Mm-hmm. And so I was in charge of the knife.
Wow. That's crazy.
And then this is where my voice is a little. We did karaoke, and we were in a room. There's my really good friend Bill Duran, who does Punish Props in the top right there, and my really great friend Carrie, and this is Claire, and this is Cheesy G. I'm like blanking on her real name because all I know her as is Cheesy G, and then that's Carrie's husband. But I'm taking the picture. But I did sing.
Oh, good.
I sang some Rocky Horror Picture Show Time Warp. I sang, we sang Purple Rain. And our group, because they had different rooms, we were the chill group. We were the Gen X group. So we did not stand up and sing. Like, everybody's performing in all the other rooms. And I'm like, no, we'll just sit down and sing. So you would have liked it. Bill did.
No, I wouldn't have.
You would have. You would have.
There's nothing about this scene that is something I would like. But thank you for your optimism.
It was.
I like the people.
Rancid. Somebody saying Rancid.
I don't care. I'm not a singer. I would not want anything to do with it.
But see, the thing of it is, with our group, you could just sing on the couch. You didn't have to have the microphone. You could just sing along.
Yeah, woodworkers don't sing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't think that's true. I bet you. Okay, we'll wrap it up. I wanted to show my little TMS because we had a craft and board game day, and this is what it was a group project. I got to meet Dr. Nikki, and she helped me with the M, and then Leslie did the S, and I did the T, and then I kind of tightened it up, and I did that with the doodle pen. So
that's a lot of work with a doodle pen.
I sat there for 5 hours doing that.
Maybe a little too much work.
A little bit too much, but
too much. Well, the funny thing is when it's done, it looks like it's made of frosting because it's all. You know what I mean?
It's all squiggly.
You don't have enough to cover it completely.
If I had the right tools, I could have smoothed.
Always the story.
If I owned.
I could do that too if I had that 3D doodle pen.
Hey, you do it to me, I'm doing it to you.
Okay.
You could get like a metal smoother. Have you ever seen those where they're like
a little spatula?
Yeah, and you could kind of smooth it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, so if you're just joining, this is the Woodworking Morning Show for May 2nd, 2025.
This clock has got to go. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I put my little frog that I got up there.
That's cute.
Cute little frog that
I think the gears,
Mike gave me.
I think the gears in that thing are just something's fouled
Anybody
up.
know how to fix clocks?
An old cheap clock.
It's not that cheap. It was not cheap. It was over $100.
It's cheaply made.
Yes.
Not inexpensive.
Correct.
That's why I use the word cheap.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it is not a bargain.
Okay.
They're really overpriced for what they are.
Yeah. Karaoke drums.
I would do karaoke drums. Yes. Sign me up.
Greg. He's like, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how I play drums.
That's exactly.
Yeah. It's karaoke drums.
Ava always says, "Hey, Daddy, put on the music."
Yeah.
And that's how she plays her drums.
Yeah, that's good.
So, hey, thanks for everybody for hanging out. And if you're not familiar with our show, if you ask a question in the chat room, if you're in the YouTube chat, I will make a little star and set it aside as we're going through questions from Patreon and the YouTube members. So we do actually have questions this week.
Yay.
Yay! So feel free to ask those questions. And if you do a super chat, you get bumped up.
You get bumped, baby.
You get bumped up. Prioritization.
What's that word? All right, so I got a quick update.
What's your update?
So did you guys see what I posted on Instagram yesterday?
You only did it a story.
Yeah, because it's like there's only so much I want to say about it. A little bit of an epoxy disaster.
It's still there.
But here's the thing. When this happens, you have to decide, do I just sulk and say this sucks and move on and just not talk about it much? Or do you embrace it and do the YouTube thing and go, there's a good thumbnail in this. And I decided for maybe the first time in my life to look at this as a content creator.
Yeah.
I was just about to do something.
I'm sorry, go for it.
So I did this. Oh, the drama.
He sent this to me. I was probably at karaoke.
Yeah, having a good time.
And I was like, oh, poor you. I'm going to sing.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a story. I will discuss this in the future in detail. But if you can't tell what's going on here, this was a job I was doing for a local neighbor, and I am videoing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
and it's a cool concept because it has a Zelda theme, and you're like, if you say Zelda to me, I'm in.
they got me with the Zelda.
They did get you with the Zelda.
And I'm really just doing someone a favor and then charging them a little bit of money for it. But I had leakage, and there's reasons. This turned out to be Western red cedar, which I didn't realize initially until I started to cut into it. And boy, that stuff is absorbent, and it goes right into the end grain, right behind the tape that I was using, the hot glue that I was using. And this stuff, not just that one spot, there's 2 or 3 spots. So now that entire area had to be picked up and cleaned up, and you might be wondering how I cleaned that.
Yes.
Well, it's uncured epoxy, so that's actually, I think, a good situation to be in. If it's cured, then we have some issues, especially with those rubber mats. But the real hero of the day, and I've got it with me right here, vinegar. So I buy this stuff by the gallon because I actually use this to not only dilute into like a regular strength vinegar, this is great for killing weeds. And you're not using super harsh chemicals.
You do use that constantly for weed killing.
Yeah. If you don't like the smell of vinegar, maybe not for you. But we're going to put the link to this, to a product I think it's not this exact brand, but you can find this brand. They have 50%.
I thought you originally got it from Amazon.
I did, yeah. But they, their inventory changes.
Yeah.
So this is 45% vinegar. Use it straight for killing weeds, and trust me, it works great. And it's not like, some super harsh, what's this, the brands that kill weeds.
The ones that got sued?
Roundup, and stuff like that. So, but you could dilute it, and then you can make tons of vinegar, which is great for cleaning up uncured epoxy. I say it's great. Nothing is great for cleaning up epoxy. It sucks. But it does kind of help dissolve it and allow you to get most of it up. So what I did was grab the putty knife. I got all the big stuff and put it into a spare cardboard box to throw away. And then I used the white vinegar for the rest of the cleanup. So all those pads in that area have been taken up because when it gets down into the cracks, it just kind of seeps in under and then travels under the pads. The shop is a wreck right now. I wish I had a picture to show you that.
What's it smell like?
Well, now it smells like vinegar. The epoxy doesn't have much of an odor in and of itself. But yeah, so that was my first experience at a larger scale. I mean, obviously not a big river table type situation, but my first more substantial pour. It's really like a knot fill on steroids. It wasn't that complicated. But the fact that these waterfalls...
Are you going to put like little figurines, like Zelda figurines in the table?
No, Nicole, I'm going to burn the damn thing is what I'm going to do.
Our neighbors are watching this and
they
they're
might
like, don't burn our mantle.
The thing is, the waterfall was already carved in there, and if I were doing this, if I had control of this from the beginning, I might have done a different order. I may not have had the waterfalls carved yet, so you could pour the top, and then you can make the cuts for the waterfalls, and then pour those waterfalls separately. But that's not the situation I was given. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm hoping the epoxy that was already there will seal up the grain because it's so thirsty. It just soaked it right in, and then capillary action pulled it right through under the tape.
That's what Bill said. I think I was with Bill and I showed it to him, and he's like, "Oh, you need a sealer."
Well, and that's the thing. I think if you use, like a better quality hardwood, you're not going to have as much of a problem. But I think I really screwed the pooch by not pre-sealing the end grain.
Mike says, "Sell it as an epoxy river floor mat."
There you go. That's turning...
And then Ice says, the floor mat could now be modern art.
Well, the floor mat was about to be permanently attached to the floor. And that's why I wanted to get them up. Because, sometimes I have to move them out of the way. For big equipment and things like that, I had to get them up. And it was like, the sound of pulling it up was like... It was all mouthy sounds. It's so nasty. All right. So anyway, that's how yesterday went for me.
I'm sorry. Was it yesterday? Mm-hmm. It felt like it was like 2 days ago.
No, it was yesterday.
Man, time in Vegas is weird.
Yeah.
Because I can't go outside because I'm on an antibiotic that will give me really, really bad sunburns. Mm-hmm. So I was like, great. I like that. I like that excuse.
Just what you need.
So I went down Fremont Street once because that's where the plaza is, right off Fremont Street. Don't take, if if you care about kids seeing boobies, don't go down Fremont Street. Is all I gotta say.
So what I got from that is I'm going to Fremont Street. Sign me up.
Boobies and butts
All right.
and big gorillas for some reason. So I got a question here from Dennis.
Oh, good.
I'm transitioning from boobies and butts to, do you repair broken tools or do you just buy new ones?
I mean, it depends on what the tool is. If it's, a broken power tool, like a big power tool, and it's something substantial that's not like an easy replaceable part, yeah, then I might be buying a new one. If it's a blown capacitor or something, that's something I would replace. A broken belt would be something I would replace. But the thing is, I haven't really had a lot of broken tools, honestly. If we're talking about hand tools, well, there's a different story. You've got a casting that breaks or something. That's kind of hard to just fix. But I haven't had many broken tools to speak of, now that I think about it. And
well, you just got that broken festool. Is that what you just said? The festool thing.
The sander?
That thing.
Well, that was a replaceable part.
Okay.
So that the festool core pad disintegrated.
But you could have told me, oh, I got to get a new sander. I would be like,
here's the thing.
I guess you got to do that.
That was the RAS 115. They don't make it anymore. So there is no getting a new one. But if there's replaceable parts, I'm going to do that, of course. But if I get to a dead end, then, yeah, I'm not going to repair it. But it's like very case-by-case basis kind of thing.
Barkley said, I bet I know what TMS stands for. I bet you didn't.
It stands for the MARC Spagnolo.
The MARC Spagnolo.
Okay, Dennis. So these two questions for last week. And
yes.
We didn't do a show last week.
We did.
If I remember. Did we?
We did, but your mom didn't put out the questions.
Oh, I've answered these questions.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
Oh, wait. They were on Patreon, I think.
I don't know, but I've answered them already.
Okay. But you answered them there. But the one I wanted you to do Dennis's question because it has to do with 3D printing.
Is this going to lead to a Vegas story?
No, it's not.
Because I'm pretty sure that's where
I won't bring it back to Vegas.
Every tangent.
I promise.
We're going to Vegas
I'm not
every 5 minutes.
I'm not going to take you to Vegas.
This reminds me. I was at a buffet.
I didn't go to any buffets.
And believe it or not, they just had a cup of 3D doodle pens. So I was able to make my own fork. And then I went and sang some karaoke after I was done. All right, Dennis Miko says, my son has 3D printed tools for me like hand plane totes and knobs, center finder, plane blade angle finder. So my question is, do you have any 3D printed tools or jigs? And
your question was not really.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is the correct answer to this question.
But we've done a lot of, so I have 3D printed, actually for Alex Adams, who's in the chat, before he got his 3D printer, he's like, hey, can you 3D print me these festool attachments?
Well, he wanted to make the DIY version of the right angle sander attachment. Right.
So I 3D printed that stuff for him. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of organizational kind of things that you can print for your shop. We were gonna do a whole class on integrating 3D printing into woodworking. And
so much for that.
I got sidetracked with being sick for a couple years. So
but for me, the answer to the question is no.
No, but my answer was yes.
Dust collection fittings. Mm-hmm. Right, that's really handy to be able to do.
I remember doing that.
And some organizational stuff. But outside of that, not a ton.
What was that little thing that we made just recently? That
I made the hose for the vacuum press.
Yes.
It's got this little insert that goes in there that is a perfect diameter for the hole you drill, and then the inner diameter is for the little valve thing that you pop in there with the hose. So we made a quick one of those, and that worked out pretty well. And it's purple, which was nice.
It is. It actually is color changing. So if it gets warm, it turns pink.
Oh, how exciting!
I have a very cool selection of filament. So, so that was I wanted to answer his question because I've actually made jigs and things like that. I think there's great possibility and benefit to adding a 3D printer to your shop.
Oh yeah, don't take my lack of use as like not an endorsement. It's just I have other things that I'm doing, and it takes focus.
Tommaso says a lot of tool holding stuff, like 8-volt tools. And things
battery
like that.
holders.
So.
There's all kinds of cool stuff.
I had Mike at Booby
Buffet. Yep.
That would probably be the name of the show if we had
titles.
If we had titles.
Not anymore. Okay, so the next one is from Brad. He says, I just purchased the undersaw cabinet. That's a Guild course.
That just came out.
Little
and
cabinet.
has a whole cool... You just added a whole new video to it, too.
I did, on mobility. I have a bunch of 1/2-inch and 1/4-inch plywood, but none of the 3/4-inch. My question is, would 1/2-inch plywood be sturdy enough for a cabinet? Also, I have the overarm dust collection system, which has 2 legs and some bracing as support, which must be removed. Your opinion, please? Thank you, Brad. So, I'm curious what you guys think of this. Freestanding cabinet with drawers. You comfortable with 1/2-inch? So I generally want to see for freestanding stuff 3/4-inch. That's just where my comfort zone is. I like 1/2-inch if we're talking about upper cabinets and we're talking about a bank of cabinets that maybe gets secured to the wall and to each other so that you get additional strength from the whole thing, right? But when it's a freestanding structure, I generally favor 3/4-inch. It doesn't mean you can't do 1/2-inch. I get a little uncomfortable with the 1/2-inch though. And we're talking about pretty wide drawers laden down with some, a decent amount of weight. I just don't like the 1/2-inch. So I recommended to Brad that he go with 3/4-inch if he can. And I'm just curious, chat room, just let us know. Would you be comfortable making a cabinet like that and sticking with a 1/2-inch? That's our RoboVac.
Is that the RoboVac?
It's having a good time.
I'm like, what's going on upstairs?
Probably eating a pair of headphones. And my underwear.
Well, it was trying to eat your bell earlier.
Oh, okay.
David K said, I use the 30% vinegar from Home Depot to kill weeds. I've never seen the 45.
Dude, go to Amazon. You'll find 85.
Yeah.
That I'd be a little bit nervous about.
85?
But it's good to know that the 30% is effective. So just a little thing on the weed killing. I've tried regular white vinegar, just household white vinegar that you could buy. And that will affect the weeds, but it will not respond the same way as apparently 30 or 45%. Mm-hmm. You put that stuff on there in the morning, you come back in the afternoon, your weeds are brown. All the weeds are brown.
All the sheets are gray. I don't know.
Yeah.
Raf is in the chat and said, add some dish soap and salt to the vinegar to kill the weeds. Ooh. The dish soap helps the vinegar stick to the leaves, and the salt helps them not grow back.
Good tip. I'll have to try that. I'll also leave the soap out, and I'll dip my chips in that, baby. Some salt and vinegar. Okay. Sounds delicious.
It doesn't sound delicious. You got another question?
I love vinegar.
Yeah, I know you.
I love the smell. Jason used to hate it when I would spray it at the shop. He could not stand the smell.
Somebody said that their neighbor got really upset when they would spray vinegar for the weeds.
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough. What are you going to do?
It's my house.
Would you rather you're spraying, serious like chemicals that stay there forever and get into the water?
Yeah.
And I don't know that it does. I'm just making stuff up. Okay.
There's a whole lawsuit about it.
Yep. Oh, these are perfectly safe. Go ahead and breathe them. Okay, Greg says, this is our good buddy Greg Batt. I'm restoring a 1960s office chair that belonged to my grandfather. One of the arms, you got a picture?
Oh, yeah, I do have a picture.
One of the arms is a bit loose. It's attached with a screw under a plug, and I'd rather not drill it out since matching the plug might be tricky. I've included a link so that you could see what I'm working with. Any suggestions for tightening it up without removing the plug? Well, this is tricky. That is not a great... That's like a
dowel?
It's just the plug.
It's just a plug.
And a screw inside there.
So if he pops it off?
Yeah. So I think he wants to reuse the plug. But this is a weak point in chairs. It's always a challenge, and I've seen a lot of chairs designed this way where that's literally just held in with a screw. Mm-hmm. And if anything's going to go, it's that screw over time. It's just going to loosen up in the hole. So a couple things. You could possibly...
Stay in the hole.
You could possibly convert to a larger diameter screw. So just pop that cap off of there and see if you can get something that is a different thread pattern and maybe a little bit thicker that might have an opportunity to bite into the wood again. You could take that screw out, try to disassemble some of that, and maybe get a little bit of epoxy in there. Just drip a little epoxy, wipe it into the threads if you can, and then reinsert the same screw. You don't want to fill the whole thing with epoxy necessarily. You just want to kind of firm up the threads that are there and give the screw something to bite into as you drive it again, and that might help tighten it up. And then kind of like short of that, you could maybe convert to something like a Miller dowel solution, which is a stepped dowel, and they have a special drill bit that you can use for that. That will completely eradicate the old hole and make a new hole. But when you put that dowel in with glue, that's going to be a pretty strong joint there. You might have to just be careful about the size of the hole that's left and the counter bore so that you can still use the existing plug, the cap that you have there. So just a few ideas, Greg.
Yeah.
But that's just a very tricky, classic...
Tread lightly.
Yeah, it's a tricky, classic chair problem.
Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out to Adam for noticing my medium Happy Gilmore reference that I just did there.
That's pretty good.
And it gives me an opportunity to show you. I'm just going to do the animated overlay.
So this time in Vegas...
This time in Vegas.
Let me tell you about this. When I was in Vegas...
we went to this place called Swingers. And it's not that kind of swingers. It was a mini golf place. And
sure.
The whole time I was doing Happy Gilmore references. And a few of my teammates had never seen Happy Gilmore. You have never seen Happy Gilmore. You've seen parts of Happy Gilmore.
Let me guess.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's Billy Madison. You didn't
I saw Billy Madison. Let me guess. It's Adam Sandler talking like this, doing the Adam Sandler thing. Am I right? A little bit of that? Okay.
I don't know.
Gareth Jones. We have a heavy rainy season in South Africa. Hey, so have we. We had, in St. Louis, record rainfall in April. I think the last time it rained in their recorded history was like 1890, something like that.
1842.
This is the reason why I haven't been on a bike. Anyway, we're talking about Gareth's rain right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Gareth, this one time when I was in Vegas, it didn't rain.
It didn't rain at all.
We have a heavy rain season in South Africa, and I have a leak. Oh, no, a leak in my workshop. This has caused some small drawer boxes to swell up, and I can't remove them from the carcass without breaking them. There are drawers for odds and ends in my tool cabinet, which is a work in progress, so there's no varnish or sealer on the drawers yet. We're now heading into the winter and dry season, so will they shrink down as the damp and moisture recedes, or should I call it quits and start again? They have been made from local South American species. A friend gave me the wood from a tree that fell in her garden, and it is a hardwood. So this is a bummer. But yes, it should recede as the humidity goes down. You should see those parts free up. I would not panic just yet, but be patient.
At the disco?
No, I would not panic at the disco. Definitely give it some time, and it may take longer than you think. So it's interesting, though. We have this situation in this house. We have multiple doors that we can always tell when the humidity goes up, not because the doors stick, but because the tile grabs on the bottom of the door. So there have been times I would grab a piece of sandpaper and run it between the door to free it up. Our bathroom is sticking now, and I think our hallway closet is one that rubs too. Just as it gets more humid, it's what's going to happen. So it may take a little bit of time, but if it's raw wood, it might be a little bit faster than you think, but give it some time. And one day you're going to go in there, and those drawers are going to pop right out. That's your opportunity to make changes. Keep in mind now, if you want to... Even if you apply varnish to this thing, it is still potentially going to do this in the future. You have to size it down a little bit. So a lot of times when you're building, like in the winter, it's really hard, even if you look at calculators, to estimate how much that wood is going to expand and contract as you get into the humid seasons.
I think, especially with, we have cheap particle board doors.
Yeah. Well, that's why they rub the tile.
Is that why?
Everything's swelling.
If you made a nice door, would that mean it wouldn't do that?
It may be less prone to it. It might be more stable.
Yeah.
But the smarter thing to do is when you install tile is to cut the door with the proper clearance so it's not an issue, which is the same solution for Gareth.
Well, you don't want enough space for a weird knife to kind of like go through the bottom of the door.
Yeah. That reminds me, like when you're in a hotel room in Vegas and people slide things under your door, right? Like the bill for your hotel.
They don't do that anymore.
Oh, they don't do that?
No, they just
bill you. It's been a while since I've been in a hotel.
They just bill you.
Anyway, Gareth, give it time. And
if you know what movie I'm referencing, let me know in the chat.
Just make sure that you do remove some more material because you didn't remove enough. You don't want this to happen again in the future. But you have the advantage now of kind of seeing the extreme. And if you can get it to fit under these conditions, then you know as it gets drier, it's just going to get a little bit looser, which can be disconcerting. But that's the cost of doing business when you have those humidity swings.
If you can guess the movie I was referencing about the knife underneath the door, I'll give you a guild course. I don't think anybody will get it, but okay. I'm very curious. Raul had to leave.
We need to get back to that, by the way.
What?
Giving away guild courses.
I agree. That's what I'm doing. What do you think I'm doing?
I don't know, like more routinely.
Okay. He said he's gonna have to move his morning stand-up meeting so he doesn't interfere with this show. But then he said he had to go.
He has a meet
I think he just meant a work meeting.
A stand-up meeting? Is that like? What's the deal with grape nuts? There's no grapes? No nuts.
But maybe he's serious. Maybe he does do a morning stand-up meeting.
I mean, he could be a stand-up comedian and he's having a meeting with other stand-up comedians.
Probably not. And,
sharing joke
now
tips.
I want to know more about Raul.
Tell us what you do for a living,
I think
Raul.
He's already left, though.
Oh, bye.
Because I waved bye to him.
Bye, Raul.
Yeah. TJ Atkins, what is the
There's
one...
honey in your voice tonight, Raul. What movie is that?
What movie is that?
I'll give you 2 guild courses. Okay, go ahead.
What is one karaoke song that you sing at least once each time you do karaoke? Well, here's the thing, TJ. I don't do karaoke. In fact, I can't even remember. Oh, I remember. It was when we were at Scott's. It was Nerdtacular. And it was one of the early ones where we were just watching a movie. Mm-hmm. And we went down in his basement. And we did, what was it, rock
one of the rock band type games.
Yeah. That was the last time I did karaoke. And I got really uncomfortable because I couldn't sing the song. And it was a weird song. So I was in charge of adding the songs to the playlist because the way that the modern technology works, you can actually just connect to YouTube and you type in karaoke and then the band or the song. So I really enjoyed... So I had 2 people. So I had my lovely friend Teresa on one side of me. She's such a sweet woman. She knits. She's very wholesome. I love her. Every time I see her, I give her hugs. And then I had Carrie, who, let's say, devil and angel. Mm-hmm. So with Teresa, we sang A Whole New World from Disney. Mm-hmm. And with Carrie, we sang I Touch Myself by the Divinals.
That's a good one.
So I had my 2 extremes on both sides. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I don't have a song that I would pick.
I think people are just messing with you and pushing you into Vegas stories.
I love talking about it. I had so much fun. All right. I know this is a woodworking show. Look.
Just not sure anymore.
This is the Mark and Nicole show. We should just say...
There is that.
We should just rename it. The Mark and Nicole...
It's the Mark and Nicole show, sometimes themed around woodworking. Okay. Chris Tooley Hexadad? Well, that's a screen name right there. During the construction of the kitchen island, I need to shim up the cabinet boxes to level things out on the floor. Where's the best place to shim? Under the kickplate base, between the base and the bottom of the cabinet, or between the cabinet and the countertop? Okay, so where's the best place to shim? Under the kickplate base, between the base and the bottom of the cabinet. Well, I mean, usually, so I have to see, this is not my area of expertise, is kitchen cabinets. So of course, I'm just thinking of this like a fine woodworker who's going, why isn't it all square and level? But I would not necessarily shim. I mean, the whole point of having these bases is you want to square them up and then have everything that sits on top of the base sit in a nice square and level condition. And this way your drawers and your cabinet doors all operate just fine. So you certainly don't want to do all your leveling above the cabinet. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. You want to level below. But yeah, I mean, if you've got some kind of a base platform that you're working with, you definitely want to level that, and then nothing else has to be leveled from that point. So somewhere down below, and usually it's the cabinet boxes, whether you're doing the kick or along the side panels, putting your shims in there. But I would ask people who have a lot more experience in this area than me, and give them specifics with the construction and what you're talking about with your platform, because I want you to get good advice. And I don't know the situation that well, so.
So a bunch of people are trying to guess the movie.
Which one? Yours or mine?
Both of ours. No one's gotten even close to mine.
Mine's.
But I think
Michael Harper got mine.
Michael Harper.
Nicely done. That's pretty obscure.
Actually, a lot of people got it after that.
Well, that's because he said it, and they go, "Oh, that's right, cable guy."
So Michael, if you email me, Nicole,
I put 2 courses up.
I'm going to give you
for Michael.
I'm going to give you 2.
Yeah.
Your choice. Nicole, Nicole,
Awesome.
at
So proud of you, Michael.
thewoodwhisperer.com. You've just become Mark's new BFF. Cable guy, when I met Mark, he quoted that movie constantly.
Want some juice? That when I would get breakfast, I would make you breakfast. Give me some juice.
Yeah. So you still have an opportunity to get a guild course if you can guess my knife under the door reference.
Yeah.
I could tell you the actor, but that would give it away.
All right.
So.
Sean Brotherton 542 says, "Do you get any snipe on your planer? I was wondering how the edge comes out. That looks like an awesome planer." So I have a Felder planer, and it does not snipe. For that price, if it snipes, I think they should be ashamed of themselves. It is so heavy duty. The frame on this thing is so well built that nothing moves. And I think that's where so much snipe comes from, is flex and feed pressure and things like that. And this thing is so rigid, there's no snipe to speak of. So the surface quality is almost ready for finish, and there's no issues whatsoever. So, but that's what a $10,000 plus piece of equipment gets you. And it's a shame that you have to go to that point to get that, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast. But thank you.
Got a question here from Tristan. Hi, Tristan. I have the opportunity to use a slab of Brazilian Blackheart. I feel like that should be Brazilian Blackheart.
That was my stripper name when I was in Vegas this weekend.
I saw some strippers. I saw some male strippers, and I was walking down with Jerry. I was like, let's go over this way.
Yeah.
Get uncomfortable.
Other side of the street.
Anyway, for the top of the outfeed table, do you think this is a sin? I love the slab, but I don't know if it's too much.
Why would it be a sin? It's your shop. It's your
too much.
It's your stripper name. You do what you want with it, right? You make your own choices. I don't see any problem with it. Matt made an outfeed table with a slab. And he got a lot of,
He's like, it's wood. I have it.
He got made fun of, but who cares? If it's yours and it fits your needs and you like the way it looks. I do lots of frivolous things in my shop to make it a fun space that I enjoy walking into, like coating the floor in epoxy. These are the things I enjoy.
It's blue.
It looked like a Smurf was murdered in there. I used that joke in the video too. Yeah. So totally, man, just do it. The only thing I do have a little bit of concern is that you might have a little bit of movement in something like a solid wood slab, and maybe you're cutting clearance holes for your miter gauge, things like that. If this thing doesn't stay flat, is that going to be a problem for you? But, keeping those things in mind, do what you want, man. Have fun, right? You only live once. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
My last question pre-selected here. Okay. Did you find that alder is very soft and gets dented when scratched easily? I'm really not reading this well. Sorry. He's talking about the bunk bed and slide project, which was made from alder.
Yeah.
I made some cabinet faces out of knotty alder, and that was one thing the customer complained about, even though I told them that it would happen, and they insisted on the wood. Well, this is the problem with customers. Alex Adams, I think he was in the chat.
He is.
He had an issue like this.
I'm sure he'll chime in.
He had an issue like this with finish, and some some church pews he was working on
yeah,
where
yeah.
they had signed off on the finish from a sample, but then once they saw the whole thing, it didn't look the way they thought it would, and they want it to be shinier. So now he's got a lot of pew to deal with. It's not a fun situation.
Pew, pew.
Generally speaking, clients can suck, right? They can. Not all of them, but expectations of regular people.
Everyone is a little different with their life experiences.
But even when you give them a sample or you tell them what's going to happen, they don't digest that information as well as they will when it's sitting in front of them and they interact with it.
Right.
It's kind of the nature.
Like when we remodeled the kitchen, I was like, I don't know. I don't even know how this is going to go. I don't have a mind's eye to see. That's why there's designers.
But we also know not to complain when we make a decision and it's not what we want to.
Yeah.
Like that's our fault.
Yeah, it's our F up.
So alder, yes, alder is, especially if you're like on the left half of the country, fairly accessible, fairly inexpensive. In Arizona, that was my first introduction to alder. Everything was made of alder. Our front door was made of alder. And even when we moved to Denver, the front door was alder. And all of the trim in our house in Denver was alder. Like the owners before us had completely renovated the whole thing. Baseboards, casing, everything. Doors, interior doors, it was all alder. Yes, it dents. It dents very easily. So it's not ideal for things that are heavy use. Those baseboards did not really hold up that well. At some point, that was going to be on my to-do list, was to refinish the baseboards. Just never got around to it before we moved. So yeah, that's the way it is. But certain pieces of furniture, like a bed, well, a kid's bed outside of the slide area, it's not really getting, messed up with stuff. So the bed held up pretty well. But if Mateo had a plastic toy and hit it up against one of the legs, guess what? There's going to be a dent. That's the way alder is. But the thing is, alder, especially knotty alder, has a very unique look to it that a lot of people enjoy. And clear alder is kind of a good substitute for cherry visually. So if you put a little bit of stain on it, it looks like cherry, or at least close to it.
David says, hate alder, too splotchy.
Yeah.
Would you use MARC juice on that?
I would absolutely use MARC juice on that.
Yeah.
Someone asked with the epoxy, did you spill your MARC juice? I'm like, nope, my MARC juice isn't blue. So yeah, it is definitely something when you stain it, it definitely blotches, but there are ways around that and ways to control that, and you can get good results with it.
Just to let you know, David D., the movie is not Signs, and it's not Your Next. Think much older. And the way that I would describe the knife underneath the door, it's like going all around. It's like really erratic and very. Yeah. It's like one of those big butcher knives.
Like you do. That's how that's what I do with a knife under the door.
Let me see. I'll give you a hint. It was made in the 70s. So the next one was from Up. Not quite.
Okay. We're down to all live questions,
yeah.
So
all right.
Whatever you guys got for
me. We already
did
Dennis's about broken tools, and someone said they think that he was referencing the clock.
Oh.
Because I think you've tried to fix it.
Yeah, but not in the sense of like trying to take it apart.
I wonder if I'm sure there's somebody around here that repairs clocks.
Maybe? Yeah. I feel like you take that to them. It's like someone bringing a particle board piece of furniture going, hey, can you fix this?
I paid over $100 for it.
Right, and you're going to pay like $300 for some dude to repair it. Well, you know what? I'll do that. I will see.
Yeah, because I like the clock.
I will see if there are screws or something that will actually allow me to take it apart. But I could tell you, it is a fairly complicated mechanism. When you are rotating these things, they're all connected to each other. So the month, the day, and the day of the week, they're all interconnected. And the clock itself, the little clock face, that's a separate mechanism. So as you rotate these things, they cause the other ones to spin and the plates to drop. And that's why I'm like, that doesn't look like a job for me. I mean, I'll try it, and then I'll send you guys pictures of how much I messed it up. Well, I can't break it any more than it's broken, can I?
True.
It's already not working.
I'm really getting an insight into people's
their movie history,
trilogy of Terror and The Shining. None of them. None of these. Nope, not Chucky. Nope. Save the clock tower. Got a question here from Chad Green. I think this is the order that he meant to ask it. I've been asked to build a small to medium size medicine cabinet.
Okay.
I will paint it white, and I was thinking of using soft maple to, should I use plywood for the carcass instead? Plywood with some soft maple face. And he says the doors will be sliding and setting into the grooves. There will be a shelf splitting one half of the cabinet in one half of cabinet in half vertically.
I don't see why you wouldn't use plywood for something like this. If you're going to cover the edges with solid wood and you're painting this thing anyway, plywood makes a great base for paint. Solid wood tends to be a little bit less predictable in some cases. Soft maple would be a decent choice either way. But I would probably opt for plywood for something like that for stability and just a really good layer, base layer for your paint.
Sure, shellac. I use 30% for cleaning my smokers. It cuts through the tannin residue really well.
There you go.
Don't you have smokers?
I don't clean my smokers. No, I do. Once in a while.
Just not with...
I usually just get a brush. I knock off...
You don't do metal brushes, right?
No.
Okay, good.
No. I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Good.
We're talking not cleaning the grates, I think. We're talking about cleaning the smoker.
Yeah.
Usually I just knock the creosote that builds up on the lid and clean the base. If it's a pellet grill, clean out the pellet dust, and Bob's your uncle.
I had never heard that saying before until I met you. And I still don't understand what it
Well,
means.
you married a real Australian over here, Nicole.
Kevin Thomas wants to know if you're going to WIA there. You want to go back to Vegas?
Hang on. Did they announce something that I don't know about?
Oh, they did. Oh, Woodworking. I thought they did announce it. It's in October. Did you miss that announcement?
I didn't see anything.
I saw the announcement. I just assumed you did too. It's going to be in October again.
Okay.
So they've already announced it.
I don't know.
I thought it was
that's way,
AWFS, and I was thinking, oh, we're going back to Vegas.
Yeah, that's way too far away for me to say yes or no to anything.
Yes. Yeah.
I can tell you because I didn't know it was happening. I haven't been asked to teach.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Logan.
Don't ask me, Logan. Please don't ask.
Don't ask me.
Please don't. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. We gotta get closer. Mike Langland. Did I say that right? I know. I put it there.
Safety question. We wear protective gear when working with tools. How do you handle an unexpected surprise face full of dust? I move something outside and poof! 4 days of eyes and nose at war. Well, there's not a whole lot you could do about that, Mike.
Yeah. You could, doesn't Ashley Harwood, she wears a whole, contraption.
Yes, but he's talking about a surprise.
Oh, a surprise.
Well, he wasn't planning on it. The only thing I would do, I would hold my breath. I mean, literally, if I got a face full of dust, I wouldn't want to breathe it in. I'd hold my breath, and I would get to a sink as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And usually that, and I'll do this. If I was power carving that mantle, Western red cedar dust all over the place. It kind of has, it's a very strong smell as well. Sticks with you for a while. But I would go into the bathroom and not just clean my face. I will douse my face, but then also my hair. Because your hair, a bunch of dudes in the chat room, some of you may not have hair, so may not be an issue. But if you have hair, this stuff is like a sponge for dust, right? And you'll also have dust there. So I do try to keep that in mind, because then when I get in my truck on the way home and I'm like a dust cloud, poofing off of me as I move around, I try to get that stuff off. So if I had a surprise cloud of dust, water. That's the best you can do. But how do you prevent that? There's nothing you can do unless you want to walk around with a face mask.
Time travel.
All day. Go back in time.
Let's see. Nobody still has not gotten my movie, and that's okay. I don't think you will.
It's probably a terrible movie.
MKE, thank you, MKE, for your consistency. I actually plan what I wear now based on you asking me what I'm wearing. This is my Borderlands Tiny Tina sweatshirt. I don't know if you can see it. It says Boom on it. I'm a huge Borderlands fan. I did not watch the movie. though my son wants to watch it, and I said I will watch it with you.
He will probably enjoy it.
He probably will.
He doesn't have baggage from the games.
No, I actually, one of the things that I did in Vegas was one of the nights we went to a place called, I think, Player One, and they did a tournament. Like, you had to sign up for it, and I didn't sign up for anything because I didn't know how I was going to feel. So I just went there and I played old arcade games. But they had a quieter section where they had couches and big TVs, and you could rent out the controllers. And Dr. Jerry and I sat there and played Borderlands 2 until one of our friends, Ducey, came through and he goes, "Hey, everybody's gone. Do you need a ride?" And we were like, "Oh, it's 11 o'clock and we're still playing Borderlands 2.
Nice.
But there's a Borderlands 4 coming out that was just announced, so I'm very excited.
Really?
So I wore my Tiny Tina sweatshirt.
I'll play that. I'll play that game.
You will not. You'll play for like 2 minutes, and like we try.
I will give it the time
It's
it
a
deserves.
It's a multiplayer game, and you can play together.
Yeah. I'll
But
play.
I tend to play it single player because I always go further than everybody else. I love it so much. I love that game. So that is where my sweater is from. Borderlands. Kevin Hahn. I always want to say Kevin Hart, but I know Kevin Hahn. Read the 3D printing in the shop. Their value is proportional to your ability to think of what can be 3D printed.
100%.
100%.
That's why I don't do it. I don't have time to think about what can be 3D printed.
Yeah. But there's whole communities out there thinking of stuff.
Totally.
So, Todd, the Swedish maker, has a decent video on 3D printing tools for the workshop. Would be fun one for Mark to explore.
Yeah.
A discussion of the argument of if a 3D printer and lasers are woodworking tools.
No,
Well, I mean, 3D printers are not woodworking tools.
that's one place I will draw that line.
Yeah.
They can certainly help, and they could be accessories to your
like-
woodworking hobby or
accessories.
business.
Yeah.
But you're by nature, I guess. What about 3D printing wood filament?
I do have some wood filament.
It's still not woodworking.
It's still not woodworking. It's still plastic.
That one, I think we can draw the line
Has
safely.
little wood fibers in it.
But that said, lasers, CNCs.
But then again, I
That's real
know
stuff.
there's a 3D printer out there that does chocolate.
Sign me up. Just can I be the base plate? Just put it in my mouth. Ava would love that too.
She would. But I'm just saying, like, it is in the realm of possibility that in the future there would be a 3D printer for just about anything.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, if you could extrude it, you could print it. That's my rule.
Bean 5.
How do you deal with friends and family that insist on paying you for a project, but then balk at the price that you give them, like they expect me to be cheaper than IKEA? Well, you have this conversation before you start the project.
Yes.
This is not a thing to talk
No.
about after it's
After.
done. That's
No.
how you deal with it.
Yeah.
So
Because we've had that. Oh, I love that. How much? Okay, never mind.
like a neighbor, I think people in
I
the
don't
family,
think she's watching.
my mom has sufficiently prepared family
yeah.
to either not ask
Yeah.
or to be prepared for the fact that it might take a long time
Mm-hmm.
or cost some money. And ultimately, I'm not worried about making money from family.
No.
So that's not it. It's usually preparing them for the fact that either I don't want to do it or that it's just going to take too long to be practical.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like a family member who wants to pay you, this is a conversation up front, and you need to explain that I can't compete with IKEA. I can't compete with Walmart. Here's the price range. This is a job like any other.
Yeah.
If they're willing to
Hours go into it.
if they're willing to pay you, this is whether it's family or not. And sometimes with family, it's even more important to have specifics and stipulations ahead of time so there's no miscommunications because it's family and that would
And
suck.
project creep.
Yeah, and can you add this? Can you do that?
Oh, I changed my mind.
So I think it's even more important than with a stranger that you lay out how this is going to go and what it's going to cost, and then there's no surprises.
You could probably Google like woodworking contract.
I'm sure you could chat GPT a
That's
woodworking
true.
contract.
That's true.
But it's communication
Yeah.
and it's laying out the details
Yeah.
and disclosing.
This is what I expect from you. This is what you can expect from me.
Yeah.
And then holding true to that.
Okay, let's do some technical service here.
Oh, William.
Don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I can't get logged into the Guild Plus. We were probably putting in either the wrong username
Or you're on the
wrong
one.
password.
Or you're on Woodworkers Guild of America.
Or you're on the Wood Whisperer and not the Guild. There's a number of things that could be at fault.
I actually had a back and forth conversation with a guy who was getting really upset that he could not log in. He's like, I know I'm a member of Guild Plus, and I'm like, you're not even in the database. Like,
yeah, we cannot find you.
I can't find you in anywhere. And then he says, well, all I know is I'm paying $2.11 a month. And I said, that's not us.
Enjoy your Columbia House membership.
That's Woodworkers Guild of America, which does which is why I put on our About page, we are not Woodworkers Guild of America.
Well, and people probably just Google like Woodworking Guild or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It's easy to confuse
yeah.
because it's the same word.
So, what was his name? Willie?
I don't know. I got rid of it already.
But
So if you're continuing to have trouble,
email me.
Email us and we'll help you out. If you're on the True Guild website, the woodwhispererguild.com, there is a forgot password feature. So if you
your
are on
email
our
address.
website, you might not have the right username. You might have forgotten your password.
Or, because you can use a username or your password that you...
Or
but
an
if you-
email.
Or, that's what I meant.
Yeah, no.
Email.
That's why I said that. Yeah, it could be either.
Either.
But you never know.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever heard of aftermarket fences for a jointer? I have a Laguna jointer planer that the fence is very difficult to square. It will not stay that way. I haven't. But tell woodpeckers and they'll make one for
you.
for $1,000.
They'll 3D print one for you.
Let's 3D print a jointer fence. So no, I have never seen that. I think probably because a jointer fence is not simply just a piece of material that's sitting there. It's usually integrated into other things. It's very proprietary to the company that made it. So I don't think that's something like making a universal version of that. I imagine would be quite a challenge. So no, I haven't seen anything like that. So chat room, you guys got a suggestion for him? If the fence is going wonky, outside of like contacting the manufacturer and getting a new one?
No, it is not an obscure French film from the 70s. It was on network television. And it scarred me as a child, which is why I remember this movie. So there's your hint.
You know what scarred me as a child? That movie with the giant boob. It was like a Woody Allen
Oh yeah,
thing.
it was a Woody Allen.
I was telling you about that.
Yeah.
My
The
grandfather.
giant boob.
So my Italian grandfather barely speaks any English.
What was the movie? Woody Allen movie? Something about sex or?
Yeah, it was something like that, and it was like a compilation of different
it was a compilation.
mini movies.
Yeah.
And I just remember being at my grandparents' house, which, by the way, was incredibly uncomfortable because
it
no
was-
one spoke English,
They're all Italian.
and no one thought to teach the kids Italian because that's like a thing they were letting go of, right?
Yeah.
There's plastic on the furniture. There's things that look like they should taste good, but they don't because they have like amaretto in it or alcohol.
Yeah.
It's just a weird environment
Yeah.
for a little Jersey boy whose family is Italian who doesn't want to be Italian anymore. And I just remember they were watching it on TV, and I asked my grandfather, I'm like, what is that? Like, it's this giant, like, it looks like a water balloon, basically. Like
It
a
did
giant
look like
boob, right?
But it was huge.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is that? And my grandfather in his recliner sitting there, he goes, it's a breast. And I'm like, it's still not clear to me, Grandpa. Because I don't know what you just said. I was probably like Mateo's age. It's a breast. So that's my childhood in a nutshell. And that did scar me for a while.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now we know. We're getting little hints of what made Mark.
And that's why I'm a boob man.
You are.
That's what they say.
I said if family and I'm not doing it as a gift, then most of the time I tell them it's the material cost. So with wood prices, it tends to shake most of the requests out.
Yeah. Well, and the material cost, you can kind of calculate that ahead of time, and you can give them a heads up. There should be no surprises in that situation.
Yeah. Greg wants to know, I have a Festool ETS 125 EQ. If staying in the Festool family, what sander would you recommend next?
Honestly, Greg, I would sell the 125 and use that money to get a ETS 150. The 150 can be your primary and only random orbit sander for 90% of your sanding needs. And then if you start doing work that requires heavy material removal, you want something more powerful, then get a completely different format sander. Get something like the Rotex. But the Rotex, if you're just doing the stuff I've seen you build so far, you're not stripping finish off of things. You may never even need the Rotex, right? So I think the ETS 150 is just overall the better sander, unless you have very specific reasons why you need a smaller radius and why you might want to go slower. So I would upgrade that, and these things retain their value, so save a few bucks, sell that, and add a 150.
Yeah. Eric says, I'm removing finish from 1950s white oak pews. You need to talk to Alex.
You might. Yeah.
Alex in the chat.
Talk to Alex or borrow Greg's new Rotex.
Yes. A first 12 inches. Nail polish remover takes the finish off cleanly, starting on another 16 feet, looking to save some time.
Well, I mean, this is a lot of volume, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes...
Ooh, nail polish remover is stanky.
I wouldn't want to use nail polish remover. So sometimes, when you have a lot of this to do, I generally try to avoid chemical strippers. Speaking of strippers, this one time in Vegas... But there are times where you're just going to be there forever sanding, and you're turning all that finished into dust, and it's just so much labor, where if you could lay down, even get with some of the more environmentally friendly types, you just lay that down, and then you come back with a putty knife and scrape that stuff off, you could save yourself so much time and effort. It kind of depends on how much finish is there and how thick it is. So... but I've also refinished projects where the finish is so old, it's starting to flake, it's very dry, and it sands through like that, right? In that case, I would not want to use a chemical stripper. But if we're talking about a thick varnish or something that's still stuck to the surface and fairly substantial, then I would probably use a chemical stripper and just save myself a bunch of time that way.
Chemical strippers. That would be a good band name, I think. Chemical stripper.
My Chemical Stripper.
My Chemical Strippers. Hey, we're at the top of the show, and no one has guessed my movie.
Oh.
So I'm just going to tell you. It was I'll give you some hints, and maybe somebody will get it. Anthony Hopkins is in it. It's from 1978. Yeah, 1978. It deals with a ventriloquist dummy that comes to life. And that
sounds awful.
It was scared the crap out of me, because the dummy is trying to get to Anthony Hopkins, and he has this long butcher knife that he just keeps shaking underneath the door, and that's all I could think about. Ooh. So there's your hints. If you could tell me the name of the movie, you can chat GPT and probably figure it out. I'll give you that guild course. Hey, there you go, Steve Thompson. I gave you all the ammunition you needed to figure it out. It was called Magic.
Oh.
It was.
So Steve's going to get the course?
Yep, I'm going to give Steve the course.
Nice.
Email me, Nicole@thewoodwhisperer.com, and I will do to that promise. Oh, wait. Steve was the first one. Oh, no, Ice Woodworks. Ice. Ah, crap.
Up.
Sorry. I'll give you both. Yeah, I'll give you both one. Sorry.
You don't like to disappoint somebody.
Oh yeah, I got all the courses. So yeah, Magic. Young Anthony Hopkins, and he has a ventriloquist dummy that comes to life.
No thanks.
He's a very evil ventriloquist dummy too.
Hard pass.
Woo!
I don't need that in my life.
And it was on network television. It wasn't like we had cable.
Back in the good old days. The TVs would dispense cigarettes back then. Good times. I miss those days. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for watching,
Yes.
everybody.
And enduring my Vegas talk.
Yep. And no video this week. Working on it right now. We're going to have the helmet rack video probably for Friday of next week.
Okay.
I got to go film some stuff for an ad on the bike.
Yeah.
Of all things. I got to ride my bike to work. You know what I did last week? Rode my bike to work, and I got a flat tire.
You did get a flat tire, and I picked him up.
A no bueno.
Yep.
And it was close enough to home that I had Nicole just come pick me up instead of fixing it on the side of the road.
Hey, and I just wanted to say, so those are my buddies, Scott and Brian. There's my little TMS. This was the live show that we did. If you've never checked out the morning stream, they are actually going to be playing the Taskville.
Oh.
So you get to see me and Wendy try to make a Bloody Mary very quietly.
Nice.
And then we have to do another task where
Squeeze one last one in.
I know, I'm just promoting Frog Pants.
Yeah.
Go to Frog Pants.
Well, the morning stream, it's a lot like this show, but good.
But better.
Scott and Brian are two of our favorite people in the world.
Oh my God.
And if you don't listen to that show, if you want something to listen to that's kind of like morning radio type thing, it's really good.
I get very excited when some of the TMS people come over here.
Yeah. There's a little bit of crosstalk.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny little bit.
So.
And today, even less. Thanks to this show.
All right, so thank you for hanging out with us. We truly appreciate it. And I'll have show notes up probably within the hour. I'm getting good at those now that I have ChatGPT.
I'm so glad you are.
Or not, just Descript.
It's tough when you do the show, and then after the show is done, there's homework to do.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I like to just close the laptops and go do something else.
Yeah.
So thankfully, Nicole's been up to the task of doing the work.
Amityville Horror was on network TV? Man, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy what they used to put on TV.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Are we not doing a show next week? We're doing a show next week.
I don't know.
Okay. I think we are. I'm pretty sure we'll be here.
I live 1/4 mile at a time.
If you're Patreon or... What movie is that?
This is on my mind because of something that we're going to be putting in a video. Your brother said.
Okay.
And I said I live my life 1/4 pounder at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
You remember that? Okay.
Shit. Sorry. I don't know what I was going to say.
You spend a couple days in Vegas. Now you're taking off your clothes and cursing. Oh, Nicole.
I don't remember.
This is a family show.
So Patreon, every Wednesday, there will be a post that comes up in the community on Patreon and on the YouTube post area. If you want to ask questions, we really do welcome them early. And that way...
Yeah, that gives us all the stuff we need to get the show going, and everything else comes from the live show. Hey, guess what? I started a fish tank. Okay. Bye-bye.